Alrighty, this is Diesel We the People News. Okay, at it again. Alright, so again, we never look straight forward. We always look around us to protect ourselves by any means necessary. Siri. Alright, I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice. You know, I'm going to do what the judges say, and this is opinions. Alright, they never rule on facts. They always have to cover themselves with a blanket of not knowing and just use opinions. Okay? And yet, you go to jail over opinion. Sit and think about that, y'all. If the judge says it's opinion, or the courts, wink, wink, courts, opinion is, 12 years in prison. It's opinion. All right? Look up the definition. Right? They will never go by facts. Right? It's up to the jury to judge the law and judge the facts. All right? In order to be a good jury, you have to know basic rights. All right? I had heard of a jury ask what code that was, and the judge denied the jury to even have that code. What? Okay? On one of my jury things, and I said this in previous videos a while back, a lady pled guilty for not identifying herself when she's a witness. Okay? Not false names, not any of that, but she was charged and agreed to be charged by not breaking law or breaking the statute, right? In Texas 3802. Okay? I knew this and I called it out, which, in fact, I did not become the jury. Go figure. Because I just said, excuse me, what? Did she violate of the Texas Code 3802? Because she pled guilty to a thing that she did not break the law of. And you know what? We, the jury, was supposed to sentence her. And from my understanding, she was sentenced. Okay, I didn't get the full story, but I did get the idea that I stayed in court long enough that she was sentenced for some type of fine or whatever. Okay, but sit and think about that, right? She pled guilty. She fought it for a long time, which goes back into who talked her into it. It was her attorney, whether it was state funded or whether it was her private attorney. It didn't matter. They talked her into pleading guilty of a law she did not commit. And I called it out. And by the way, when I was in that jury, they kept on looking at a young lady that was dark-skinned and kept asking her questions. They singled her out from all the other juries for some reason. Don't know why. By the way, she was the only dark one in there. But they singled her out completely. All right, I rambled on too long. I just want to give some clarification on some of these things that we, the people, have the power to do, and we're not doing it because most of the people out there is not the 3% that fight back. 98, 97% of us, the people, are under our beds shaking and complying.
Going into this system, this is what you're really looking at. Now let me throw another figure at you. In the Central District of California, that's the district taking into account Los Angeles and Ventura County, San Bernardino, and maybe Riverside County, Orange County.
Does it take in Santa Barbara County?
I believe it does, yes. 99% of the cases that are filed are resolved by settlement. So what that means, if you're going to file a case in the Central District, California, you have a 99% chance of settling that case. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, how much is it really worth going through that case versus settling it right off the bat? In the Superior Court of Los Angeles, which is the largest Superior Court in the United States, 95% of the cases are being settled. So once again, you're going to be asking yourself a question as to what is it worth spending all that money on the litigation? Taking all these things into account, and now I'm going to throw something else at you. And
I'm going to pause right there. So, by them settling undisclosed amount, really what that consists of, it was a private contract of agreements, and the cases that's 99% settled, they're saying, oh, we didn't do nothing wrong. But we're not going to take it even further, just in case the Supreme Court says we did something wrong. Because we don't have faith in the Supreme Courts either.
that is, if you have a judge that you feel is corrupt because his decisions are going wrong, the only thing that you can do against that judge is appeal the decision. You can't do anything else because the judge has what is known as absolute immunity for any decision he makes, irrespective of how horrible it is.
But that's only true if...
By the way, that actually passed in Clinton years around 1996. Okay, before then there was no immunity. Now they said it because Judge said it, but Congress had it in law, in writing, that they didn't have it. All right, many years later, Congress decided to give them that immunity. I'll just proceed forward because that's a lot there.
Acting within the jurisdiction, isn't it?
Well, but if the court has jurisdiction, if the court has jurisdiction and the judge is properly there, he'll have that absolute immunity.
But if they didn't file their oath of office?
Oath of offices aren't going to make any difference at this point, yeah. The absolute jurisdiction really says if the court has jurisdiction, so in other words, if you're within the jurisdiction of the court when you get served, the court's going to have jurisdiction. So the next thing is going to take place is the judge properly there. If the judge is properly there, absolute immunity is going to take place. There are ways to get around this if the judge isn't properly there. Then anything he does was void, but we'll speak about that a little bit later. So this is the overlay of what you as a litigant is going to be facing when you walk into that court. That's the first thing to understand. So everyone who sits there and thinks about different things, about the judge being biased and all the rest of these things, has to look at what is really happening. Now that we understand this part of it, let's deal with what has happened next. Next thing that took place, and let's take the California courts, for instance, starting out in LA about the year 1985. You had LA County deciding that it wanted to give extra money to the judges. And the reason that it decided it wanted to do this was to attract more qualified people to sit as judges in LA County. Now, mind you, judges in California are state employees. And under Article 6, Section 19 of the California Constitution, only the legislature can prescribe the compensation of the judges. Counties can't do that. So those payments were illegal. But even assuming that the payments were legal, who were they attracting? Initially, most of the people that become Superior Court judges are either former public defenders, former district attorneys, former county councils, or former deputy attorney generals. You also have political appointees who gave to the political parties and were appointed by the governor. These were people coming out of private practice. So in paying more money, who did they really attract? If you go back from 1985 onwards and you look to see who became the judges, chances are you are not going to find any more people that were, quote, more qualified than the people in this group. But the amount of money being paid ended up being another, at this point in time, $60,000 more in LA County. Well, as it turned out, these payments turned out to be declared unlawful, and that took place in 2008. And immediately, the judges went to the legislature and they got a bill passed called SBX 211. And SBX 211 ended up saying two things. One, that those payments should be made legal as of 2009. And second of all, and this becomes the kicker, they gave retroactive immunity from criminal prosecution, civil liability, and disciplinary action to the judges that received those payments and to the counties and the county employees who gave the payments.
Isn't that legalizing bribery?
Well, basically extending that payments to judges by a party, and counties were parties to these cases, was bribery. And there's cases that upheld that. If you were a person and you paid a judge, that's a bribe. And people went to jail for that. And that's even a federal crime under 18 U.S.C. section 1346, which was the payment for doing your job. Basically, it's the right to collect when somebody is getting paid for doing their job. And under 1341, it's also mail fraud. So basically, those cases were in place, but the retroactive immunity that was given under state law and not under federal law. So these judges, the county supervisors, county employees were all liable under federal law and were not prosecuted and were given retroactive immunity under state law. As the cases came down the line from 2009 onwards, the payments were still illegal, and neither the California Attorney General nor the district attorneys prosecuted any of the judges or any of the county supervisors for the illegal payments that continued. Further cases then held that new judges who came in were allowed to collect this money, but the money had to be on the same terms and conditions as existed on July 1st, 2008. Well, the counties and the courts are still paying more money than those exact terms. So basically, they're still getting illegal payments. So
we're going to stop right there. So remember, y'all, way back in earlier days, when people really started researching these laws, the judicial branch actually had to start covering their buttocks because they was breaking state laws and federal laws. And so they had to create a remedy of protection from us. um, can't make this stuff up, y'all. All right. And then who's going to be all the bad guy? It's going to be the people. Why? Because we don't have sovereign citizen immunity. They do. All right. You can check out your own state codes, but you can willing to bet in your own states. It's the same process. You just got to call these codes out and find out which one matches your own state. Okay. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Right? Your attorney's a bar member. The other attorney's a bar member. And the judge is a bar member. And it's all conflict of interest against you. But when you actually pay for an attorney, you waived all your rights. That enhances the reason why on your document it says that you waived all your rights. And even if your attorney goofs up, guess what? You still go to jail and attorney go get another client. Oh, you can't make this stuff up, y'all. All right. This will be the People News. Bye.